to have the best possible care. So whatever it takes, I'll
I fucking did that. Have we started? Are you recording? Oh, cool. Well, yeah, I guess we're into it. I don't know. If I'm honest, it's been a bit of a turbulent weekend, so I haven't really had much.
What happened with your weekend?
Just a lot of personal shenanigans that
couldn't have been any worse than like what I woke up to Saturday morning.
Okay, what did you wake up to?
Like just a pretty heavy police presence outside the front door, fire trucks.
For you?
Not for our house, no. But for like, the neighbor. Something's going on. They're painting the apartment complex across the street. And I'm not sure, if this is a result of that in some way. But I, made my cuppa and went out and went and talked to one of the police officers there. He was pretty tight-lipped.
Okay.
Didn't say too much. Something about like an ongoing investigation. He's like, "Oh, it's nothing you'll ever read about in like the newspaper or anything."
Right.
And I was like, "All right," because I said, "Is this anything I should be concerned about?" It's like multiple cop cars. Lots of cops filtering meandering about, and fire truck, and another smaller fire truck. Maybe like they were going in there to do some looking around or if I put all the pieces together, it's like drug lab.
Yeah, that would check out.
I'm like, what's going on? So yeah, that was a bit weird, a bit interesting for a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then, I think I heard some ruckus about them dropping off a car, and this silver station wagon showed up, 2 flat tires. I'm like, that wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah, that's
so yeah,
dubious.
That's part of my weekend. So, maybe yours will mellow out.
Hopefully. Yeah. There's just sometimes things happen and can be a bit deflating, it can deflate your spirits.
I feel like that every day I go to work, man.
What gets you through it?
Well, I got that little side hustle that keeps me focused and kind of takes my attention away from the day job.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Sure. Do you know what print on demand is?
That's is that when you order something and they print it for you?
Yes.
I
don't have to touch any product. I don't have to ship anything. I create a design. I put it up on Etsy, and then I just need to, hope that people are interested in whatever design I created, whether it's on like a coffee mug. I'm doing a lot of drinkware at the moment because I'm working with this one printer specifically, and that's the core of his product line. They will eventually be branching out into other like garment printing.
Okay, cool.
Printing on like little tote bags and that sort of thing, but that's further off down the line.
What sort of printing
they do dye sublimation, which is a process where they'll print out your design on a piece of paper and they wrap it around like a coffee mug or a tumbler, and they shove it in, like they heat it.
Like in a kiln or something?
Bake it, in an oven, or they heat press it, and they bake this design into the actual product.
It almost sounds like those temporary tattoos,
sort of.
Like a mix of the concepts.
Yeah. So that's what, as far as I understand it, I've had to watch videos online to kind of see this because I've never seen like one of my products in the flesh.
Yeah.
Because I only deal with selling to the United
States.
You
never bought your own product?
My sister bought a tumbler once, and I've seen one.
Okay.
But no, I've never, because I don't ship down here, right? They only ship to the United States.
Well, I guess that's where the market is.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting, it lets me be creative. It lets me tickle that and scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And kind of get back into what it was that I kind of grew up doing, like drawing, illustrating, designing, playing with computers, internet technology, all this sort of stuff. I had been lacking that for a long time. And when I got into the building industry, all that kind of went away, and I had like...
It's hard to find a creative outlet in the trades.
So you asked me what gets me through it. It's like that does, because I get home, I get cleaned off, I have my coffee, I feed Manny, I feed myself, and then it's into, playing on the computer, doing design. I equate it to like, I had a friend, he built an online industry doing sound effects and music loops and these sorts of things. And what I learned from this was he went home after work, working like long 50, 70, 80 hour, 100 hour work weeks doing the film thing. And he went home every night, still worked on his little side hustle, worked on it. 10 years later, he's like doing really well, like so well that he left his high paying visual effects job to go and work on his side hustle because it was making so much money.
That's awesome.
And because he touched it every single day, he just kind of was like, kept with it. And I told myself, I've got all the skill sets, all the pieces of this puzzle to make this print on demand side hustle work. Even though it's not taking off right now, I'm, still in the small infancy early days, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I'm somewhere in the realm of like 250 sales and
cool
or something like that, 270. And, I'm just kind of, keep adding to the whole, what do you call it? Product line. Like they're getting ready, the printer I'm working with, they're getting ready to release candles to us.
Okay.
And they're making, what's cool about my printer in the States, he's cut out the middleman. There's this other company called Printify that you can work with.
I've heard of them. Yep.
Printify is a middleman. They have they have a database of all the other printers that print on a litany of 800 different products, whether it's phone cases, bath mats, shower curtains, doormats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee cups, any kind of tumbler. They've got everything you can imagine, like ornaments, everything. So, but Printify is a middleman. So they take a cut.
They take a cut.
The printer gets a cut. And this other guy was like, look, we're cutting out the middleman. We're going to print all of our own stuff here. I'm going to buy the machines, do all this. And what I like about him, he's got a really good eye for attention to detail, kind of like I do. So that they think they hold quality very high and they don't send anything out. They quality control and check it and make sure it's good before they just send it out. I've had nothing but 5-star reviews from people that have bought my stuff. So it's like, it bodes well for me in my shop. I don't have to deal with like, oh, your thing arrived broken. Oh, let me get you another one because my freaking printer is an idiot. I don't have that. So that's what's really nice. And I'm paying a premium, it's expensive. And I'm hoping that, in time, as I build the shop up and get more crap in there, it'll all come together and start to pay off and make itself, what a side hustle is supposed to be, profitable.
Yeah, big time.
Make my day job a little bit less a nightmare.
Yeah.
The hope is to kind of build this thing up big enough so that I can walk away from the day job. It's what most people hope for.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. I'm not going to quit. I'm not quitting.
Can I ask you about your... Oh, hello, friend.
Yeah. What do you got?
Can I ask you about your career progression? Because you've had a pretty broad spectrum of...
to get to where I am right now.
Yeah.
Where should I start?
At the beginning is generally a good place.
You mean beginning of like when I graduated?
Well, I guess you were saying before that, growing
when I graduated college.
you liked illustration and stuff like that.
Okay, I'll take it from college. Or university. What do you guys call it here?
Yeah, same diff.
Okay. So I got out of there and I was one of the first graduating classes to graduate through the graphic design program using technology, using computers.
Oh, wow.
Previous to that, people had gone through the course and the program and the classes, and they had done all the graphic design with hand and cut the Ruby lith and done things with layers and CMYK, done it all by hand traditionally. Now they brought in the computers and they brought in all those post-production processes and all those things into the computer where you can use Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator 1.1. This is like in the days when it was just brand spanking new. So I got to play with these things and I'm in there like learning out to do page layout on Quark Express and, PageMaker and these different applications and things. I'm playing with Illustrator, which is a 2D design application, and I'm loving it. But this is so cool, man. This is so great. This is a toy. It's essentially what it is for me. It's a toy. And I'm like, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to get a degree and someone's going to pay me to play with this toy. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it went. It went from there. I got into some jobs doing design work, working for ad agencies where it was more like just robotic, kind of like, we're going to print this book. We got to take these designs and these pages and all this stuff and lay it in this book and make it all the samey. And that went on. I did different little things and, got a little taste of some design work, but it was more like robotic kind of stuff. And I thought, there's got to be something better. What's the next thing? And my buddy Chris said, have you heard about post-production? Because I was like, I want to see my images move. And he goes, have you heard about post-production? I'm like, no, what's post-production? He says, when they make a movie and they take the film footage that they shot in a camera and then they scan it to get it into the computer. And then they can do things with it in the computer and affect it and add stuff to it and do this and that. I'm like, sounds kind of cool. Can you tell me more about it? And he's like, yeah, UCLA has a whole program about it. He's like, get one of their catalogs. So I got one of their catalogs and was flipping through it. There's all these classes about TV, post-production, sound effects, and musically, all these different little things that you can kind of go into. And I started looking into the classes, and they're like $300 or $400 a pop, and they're night classes for like X number of weeks. And I started circling things that sounded interesting, like circling these classes, and I signed up, started taking a class. You'd end up at like Sony Studios on the back lot, going up into this building, into this room where this is killer setup, and this guy's got this big screen and this massive board of sound effects. And he's up there scoring a movie, and they're doing like sound effects and all these audio stuff. And then you go into another class in another studio, and there's a guy doing like the Foley, where they got a whole room in there, and it's got all kinds of debris and junk and sand and dirt and jackets and all this kind of stuff. And they're doing a baseball thing, and the guy's got a leather jacket with the stand, and he's like, this guy's sliding in the home plate, and he's like, what? With this leather jacket on the.
It's amazing how those Foley artists.
Yeah, you just look and you're like, seems like that, and it just blew my mind. Like, this is how things got made, very slow, very, broken down, isolated incident, for every little tweak and thing. It was like such a, an in-depth process, but it was fascinating. And like, once I started taking these classes and seeing what was possible, I was like, and I saw how nice and swanky some of the offices were and how they got treated. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. I want to do this. So I kept taking classes. And after that, I decided to get into the film industry. I had to live where the film industry was, because at this point I was probably still driving from down south in Orange County, California. So it was like an hour to get to LA. And at that point, I was like, we probably need to be up where the business is so you can network with people.
Sorry to interrupt. Just geographically, how large is California?
I don't know from top to bottom, but you could drive for 10 hours north, just keep going and still be in California.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, it's about that big. It's about probably maybe almost New Zealand, North Island. Cause from where I lived in Orange County, which is about an hour and a few minutes north of the southern border, you can drive for 8 hours and you'll end up in San Francisco.
Right.
So, and then, a little bit further is the top of the state. So I'm guessing, something like 10 hours. Maybe.
Far out.
It's pretty long. But, so from where I was, it was about an hour north to LA. And I thought, we got to be up here. We got to be in where the people are so that you can network and tell people your story.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did. It's like, I went to LA and I thought, I'm just going to tell everybody that I want to get in the film industry, everybody I meet, whoever I run into. And what I did was, you just come up with a sentence or two. You just say, hey, my name's George. I want to do, film visual effects. I figured I'd have to be up here in LA to, get into it, because I don't know the first thing about it. And if you tell people that and tell them what you want to do, they'll usually run through their mind and kind of see if they have any connections or people that they can hook you up with.
Well, you'd hope. Yeah.
Well, and out there, it's a lot of networking and it's a lot of who you know. And there's so many more people too. So it's like really impacted. And so that was what I did. Everyone I met, I told them this little story. And eventually I came across someone. It's weird. It ended up being, out of something bad came something good. And the bad thing was that I ended up having a drunk driving accident and I wrecked a car. And I ended up in these alcohol classes. You had to pay like, money, the judge, and paid a couple $1,000, and I smashed my car all up on the freeway. Ended up in these classes where Dr. Dre was in my class.
Oh, wow.
But my foot's falling asleep. He was there, but as I was there, everyone has to get up and tell your story about how you got busted. So I told my story, and everyone else does. You're sitting back and you're just listening to people's stories. The guy I talked to, he gets up and I'm going to do my accent. He's like, my name is Marco Sudo, do computer graphic in Beverly Hills. I'm like, I'm talking to that guy at break. Computer graphics? I'm like, heck yeah. So he tells his story about how he had too much sake and he ended up like coming up to a stoplight and behind a cop car and just didn't hit the brakes in time. Just bumped the cop, and then that's how he got busted. But at break time, I went up and I introduced myself and we had a nice chat, and he was super, super cool. And he invited me to where he worked, which is a little place called Magic Box over in Beverly Hills. And, I went over there and saw his little, it wasn't his, but I saw the studio where he worked and saw some of the stuff on his screen. He had these like, it looked like a giant, you know, those bikes in Star Wars. Whatever. He had one of those things float. It was like 3D model, just like idling, just like on his computer screen. It was just like this. And it was like just an engine with handlebars. And I'm like, that is so cool, you know? And I went and I was talking with him, and he introduced me to one of the girls he worked with, Christine Lowe. And I talked with Christine, and I told her what I wanted to do, get in the film industry, do this. She said, oh, you need to talk to my friend, you know, Joe and Lindy. They're working for Silicon Graphics, and we're opening up a training studio in Santa Monica. I'm like, a training studio for visual effects? I'm like, I want that job. And that opened things up, and they gave me a number, and I called them, and I called them, and I called them, and I called them, and I would not let up, and I just kept calling. So they gave me a job. And I was one of the first teaching assistants hired there. And that role basically was, I had to be in the classroom with the teacher and the rest of the students. And I had to be there for students that got either behind or had a question, or, you know, gotten, you know, left, you know, one way or another, just were like needing some help. So, and in order to do that, I had to take all the classes that I was going to be a teaching assistant for. So I got like, and these classes are like $1,500 a pop for a week.
Wow.
Tuition, or, you know, tutelage. And, did that for about, I was there for about a year. It's what the contract was. And after that, they boot you out the door and like, your year's up. You had to go buy, and you leave. But during that time, I got to take all these classes, play with all this software. I had a card key for the front door. I could stay there as late as I want. I could sleep there, you know, work on these things all through the night. I was making content for a demo reel, which is how the film industry works. You put, you know, shots, visual effects or modeling or lighting or compositing or whatever it is that you want to do. You put them all together on a demo reel, and you show that to people. Hey, I want a job as this. Here's my demo reel. And they're like, oh, they look at it and they're like, yeah, this guy can run the software. He can help us out. Sure, give him a job. And that's how kind of I got my first job. Was we used to have nights where we would have people come through for a tour of the studio. They had like 3 different classrooms, and they'd do like speakers would come out, like visual effects supervisors would come out and talk about things and like do a good presentation. And so we did a lot of those, and I met people there, and that's where I met people that got me my first job in visual effects.
Wow.
It's a small little studio with like maybe 10 people, small. First film I worked on at this place was Leprechaun 3 or 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually got a credit. And I was like, oh, because I was watching it. I saw the end of the film. I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible film. I watched the credits roll by. I'm like, please, no. And then the credits rolled. First credit. It was terrible. Because the last shot in the film, spoiler alert.
Hold on. That film is so old. If you haven't seen it, it's your problem.
It's like, I think they ended up in the Leprechaun, then it ended up in space or something.
Yeah.
And I think something happened. I don't know, blew him out the door. I don't know what happened. But his arm comes floating up, and his arm just like, you know, this part of his arm comes floating up in the shot like there's weightless, and then it just kind of goes. That was terrible. But yeah, Leprechaun 4. And after that, you know, you get a little bit more experience. You put some different content on your reel. You learn some more software. And then you go to the next studio. You know, you meet other people, and you're like, hey, I want a job over there. And you go to that studio, and then you go to the next studio. And you just kind of bounce around like that, because there's so many different studios to choose from. And you kind of grow your knowledge that way and your ability. And then you get fed up with Los Angeles, and you try and figure out a way to get out of there because you don't like it. And that's what happened. And that's what brought me here. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So,
and how did that work? Was that?
Well, how it was I was at Digital Domain working on X-Men, the first one. And we were hanging out, just doing our thing there. And I was wondering, because I don't like LA. You know, nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah.
So I was there at Digital Domain. I was doing this X-Men job, and I was looking around on the internet, and I stumbled across some news about a film being made in New Zealand. The Lord of the Rings. Like, what is Lord of the Rings? What is New Zealand? What is this? And so I did some more research.
Had you never heard of either?
No.
Wow.
No. Not that literate. Come on. But so I did some more research and looked into it. I'm like, no way, someone's making a movie somewhere else on the planet. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta check this out. I gotta get out of here. I want to escape. And that's what happened. I told my buddy Mark about it, and Mark is a compositor, and he was very, very talented. And I told Mark, and him and his wife have an adventurous spirit. And they were like, yeah, sounds kind of cool. Let's apply. So I was like, all right. I helped him put a demo reel together. I got all his shots and all his clips, and I put them in the editing software at my house, and I edited a clip together, Mark, all the information that you need to contact him, spit out a DVD. Here you go, Mark. He took that, submitted it down here to Weta, and they snatched him up like that.
Wow.
And he packed up his house in Hollywood and his 2 big dogs, and they moved down here, and da-da-da-da-da. And a month later, I'm like, hey, Mark, what's it like in New Zealand? He's like, oh, man, you'd love it. It's all nature and green, blah, blah, blah. And, one thing led to another. And he's like, he says, yeah, you should talk to Greg. I'm like, who's Greg? And he's like, Greg's the head of department that you need to talk to, head of Roto. Because I asked him, I said, is there any way I can come down there and do my job? And he's like, yeah, talk to Greg. So Greg gets on the phone. I talked with Greg. Come to find out, Greg is also from the U.S. He is also from the East Coast, like I am. And he talks loud like I do. So we're on the phone and we're talking and we're going back and forth and we're hitting it off. And he seems like a really cool guy. And he goes, hey, you're not one of those guys who wants to come down here and like do rotoscoping for like a couple weeks or month and then like go into compositing, are you? I said, no, man. I said, I hate compositing. I said, had a taste of it up here. I said, don't want to do it, man. I love roto. It's what I do. He goes, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, Mark says good things about your work. He says, why don't you get down here? I'm like, all right, send me a contract. So he sends me a contract and I fill it out quickly and I send it back and, pack my crap up in Los Angeles. And all the while, the song Enema from Tool.
Yeah.
That was my mantra, my song for like leaving Los Angeles. It's like, learn to swim.
Yeah. That's cool.
Over and over and over. And that song holds special meaning in me because it was the song that I escaped Los Angeles to.
Wow.
And it's just a beautiful song on its own, but it was so appropriate and meaningful. Got me through it. Got down here and never looked back. And I'll die here. So, yeah, man, it's good stuff.
That's rad.
Yeah. So, that's that whole journey. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Stop, you're like,
no, I'm listening. Okay. So from Lord of the Rings, where'd you go from there? You've obviously been here the whole time.
Well, doing the rotoscoping thing, I became like kind of a fixture there at Weta. And
can you explain what rotoscoping is?
Yeah. Rotoscoping, you can think of like, okay, in the film industry, they layer images together. So it's like there's layer upon layer upon layer. And it's like they stack all the different elements in front of one another to create the final image. So
is that to give it depth or?
No, sometimes, but it's more about like, oh, we need some smoke and some atmosphere. Put that layer in. Oh, we need to get some like, background trees. Get that in there. Oh, how about some glow from the moon? Put that little lighting effect in there. Oh, we need to have these foreground horses that, they're on a different plate and pop them in there. Boom. Now they're riding.
Is that, I guess, similar to how they would do animation? How they would have different clear...
cells? Animation cells, you mean, back in the old days?
Possibly. Like where they
sort of,
have like a background and the people.
And then they'd stack the characters on top and they'd stack the foreground elements on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all like stacked up. Well, if they shoot something that is not on a green screen, like let's say I'm shooting you and you're just against that background, I can't use a key or blue screen or green screen to kind of extract you off of the background.
Right.
I have to come in, I have to draw a shape around you. And if you're moving your arms and talking and looking and all this kind of stuff, I have to animate those shapes and I have to cut you out.
Frame by frame?
A lot of times, sometimes, but the software interpolates. So you draw a shape and you break it down. I don't just draw one entire shape around your body because that would be a nightmare with all the points.
Yeah.
And if you moved a whole lot and lifted your arm, I'd have to move all these points. So you break it down into its pieces,
Right.
here's your hand, here's your first part of the arm, here's the second part of the arm and shoulder. Here's your ear, here's your other ear, here's maybe part of your hair, here's like that shoulder. And you just kind of break it down into manageable chunks that you can just kind of like, tweak and adjust. And the software will interpolate. So you make like an adjustment here in frame 1, and then an adjustment at frame 5, and then an adjustment at frame 10, scrub it back and forth, see where it's missing. I'll miss it on 3 and 7. So you make adjustments on 3 and 7, and then you scrub it some more and you check it out. You're like, yeah, it looks all right. That's good. Sometimes if it's crazy motion or it's fast or erratic, it can be like every single frame.
Wow.
Tweak and adjust and tweak and adjust and tweak and adjust. It's eye-hand coordination for me.
Yeah.
There was no brain activity involved. And that's what made it, kind of easy and appealing, I guess, for me, as I turn my brain off and just sit there and just look at stuff. And so a lot of, not mouse, but the tablet.
Yeah.
And just, moving the arrow keys. You select some points, nudge them around, select some points, nudge them around. And it took a whole lot of that. And I got really fast and efficient at it.
It just becomes muscle memory.
Yeah. And the team there, they love me because I have, good attention to detail, and they never had to kick anything back to me when I did it. And the compositors, because that creates an alpha channel, like a black image with like a white silhouette in the center. That gets sent to the compositor, and they use that. They apply that to the image, and they cut out whatever was white in the center, whether it was a guy riding a horse or, a guy swinging a sword, anything like that. That's what they would cut out. Right. And they would put all their smoke and their effects and their fire and their other goblins and all the crap in the background, and then paste this back on top.
Wow.
And layer those guys in, and to kind of build the shot up.
Yeah.
To give it all the effects and all the lighting and all the smoke and atmosphere and lightning and whatever that they're putting in the shot. And the compositors love me because they would say like, oh, if you got George in your shot, oh yeah, you're going to be sweet. Because they just kind of plug it in and kind of like, adjust it, and always got good feedback. Even to Peter was looking at one of the shots one day in dailies, and it was the Treebeard shot where Pippin's sitting in the tree, and he does that double take where he's like, and he does that and his hair goes, and it does that little flippy thing. And Peter was looking at it. It's like, hey, that was great. So how'd you guys do the hair? He goes, is that rotoscoping? And they're like, yeah. It's like, oh, it's really good. So, and that feedback came back to me. And it's always nice when you hear something that doesn't happen very often. So when you get that, you're like, all right, I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I'm doing.
I feel like you'd probably get a lot of that in the industry where I guess you're taken for granted for, some of those skills.
Everyone's so busy that they don't have time to.
Yeah.
I tried to think about that when I see new people come into the rotoscoping department and doing a good job. And one time I was talking to one of the guys, and I was noticing, I'm like, man, the quality of this, like the quality of your roto is up there. It's good. It's really good. I'm like, this is a really good shot. I'm like, you're doing some great work. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I said, you're doing the right thing. And just let him know, it was something I felt, it's like, he probably hasn't heard this before. It's obvious that it's like quality. So I'm going to tell him. And I'm sure maybe it had like a little impact, and he felt like, yeah, all right, cool. A little boost, a little wind in the sails. Got, a little bit of one of those too from Jim Cameron on Titanic. We did the same thing. I was doing rotoscoping back then.
Oh, you worked on that film as well?
Yeah. Everyone in Hollywood did.
Okay.
Big film.
Yeah.
But did some work, and he would, some of the shots went over and they were checking them out, and they came back. It's like, he was giving us props for the quality on the work. I'm like, nice, man. It's always good to, hear back. It's like they're happy with, what's going on. But, I miss the work. It's fun, and, I would do it again if it wasn't project based, if it was something like a career where they like hire you for like years at a time.
Yeah.
Oh, you want a job for the next 5 years? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Not 3 months. I don't want 3 months worth of work. I don't want to help you, push this film over the line and then be on my butt again, having to move to another country. But the model is broken, sadly. And it might be okay if you're new to it. It's exciting. Or if you're, sit down. If you're, I don't know, don't have a family, don't have a dog that you got to carted on the planet, because that gets expensive. Buddy, you're expensive. But in the early days, it was fun to kind of go to, different countries. Let's go to Canada. Let's go to Australia. Let's go here. And, you do all these different things, and you get to have exploring adventures and meet all kinds of interesting, cool people. Can you sit down, please? Thank you. But yeah, it just got too much. and too unstable. And I just, after 6 months of no work and just animating my little dragon day after day and trying to make it better and better and going stir crazy from looking at it, because you need, your eyes get worn out and you can't tell like what's what. You move something this way and then you look at, is it any better than it was 3 days ago? I can't tell. So I was animating my dragon for like 6 months, waiting for like the next job to happen, trying to have interviews with people here and there, and nothing was happening. I was like, I'm done, you know? And I was,
what was your last project you worked on?
Rampage. Yeah, with The Rock. Do you know at the end of the film, have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
So you can spoil it.
Okay. Well, spoiler all. At the end, The Rock is there with the girl and George.
It's the one about they got the
giant,
King Kong or
giant gorilla, the giant alligator and the giant wolf.
Yeah, I remember.
Based on some kind of a video game, I think. But at the end, after the epic battle, George the gorilla, he's just a mess, leaning against this building. He sits up and The Rock comes over and The Rock is talking to George. They have this relationship where he's, you know, they understand each other, and I guess there's some humor there between them. But it's kind of cute, their relationship actually. But at the end, you know, The Rock is saying like, he's like, what about her? And he's like, oh, she's part of our new team now, or this and that. He looks at him, looks at her, and he looks at him and he goes like, does the finger gesture, right? And he goes, no. Well, that was my shot. The finger gesture was my last shot in the industry. And it was a good one to go out on because, you know, it's kind of funny. It made me laugh and it made me chuckle. So I was happy to have been given the chance to do that. Yeah, it was good fun. You should go check it out. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
There's some good funny moments in that, you know, from the animation guys. And the people, the writers, whoever.
Yeah.
But the relationship between him and The Rock is kind of funny. There's some good ones. But yeah, it's like now I'm just trying to get back into some more of the creative kind of, want to use technology, want to try and reclaim my old self because the new self, you know, it doesn't like the new reality.
Yeah, I get that. What took you to, was it Antarctica you went to?
Well, what takes anyone to Antarctica? I mean, just a sense of adventure.
You didn't go there for a tan, that's for sure.
No, I don't like going on holidays where it's hot. I've been on so many of those with my family, and I always get pissed off. I'm like, we always end up going someplace where it's hot. You know, the last one I can remember, I got sunburnt on the first day. I spent the next 2 or 3 days in the apartment. It just sucks, man. I hate these hot places. I don't like the sweat. And Antarctica is frozen, right? It's like after one of the films, it was one of the Rings films. And we were looking for a holiday. And I'm like, well, where are we on the planet? And I looked at the globe. I'm like, well, look, we're way down here. I'm like, what's close? I'm like, Antarctica's right there. I'm like, can we go there? And, you know, Google search later, it's like, you can go there. There's a company right here in New Zealand, right down the South Island, Heritage Expeditions. And we hit them up and looked at the website and found a trip and saw the price tag and thought, yeah, we could do that. It was like $20,000. But I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's do that. And I just figured I'll just throw it on my credit card. And I had to pay a deposit of like 20% or something. So I paid the deposit in cash. And I thought, I'll just pay the rest on my credit card. I had a big, you know, balance limit. And so I called them up and I said, hey, I want to pay the balance on my credit card. And she said, oh, I'm sorry, we don't take credit cards. And I was like, huh?
What?
And I'm like, okay, playing it cool. I'm like, all right, that sounds fine. That's cool. I'm like, oh, crap. So I'm like, right then I realized I got to start working some overtime. I started hitting everybody up. Hey, man, you got a shot? Can I help you out in your shot? Can I do this? Can I work this weekend? And I started working all these crazy hours and managed to rustle up the rest of the cash.
Wow.
And got it paid for. And my buddy John and I went on this crazy trip to Antarctica for 3 weeks, where it takes on a ship, you depart from Invercargill and you just start cruising south. And you stop off at various island groupings, you know, like there was like the Campbell Islands and the Auckland Islands, a couple of different groupings there. you get off the ship and you can walk around the island and you can see like the natural wildlife where there you got like albatross that are nesting in the tall grass, and albatross, man, they're big birds, man. They're like just massive things just kind of sitting there on the hillside.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it's pretty cool. That and like the bull seals, elephant seal, whatever you call them. Elephant seal, bull seals, the big ones, the ones that are like big as you.
Yeah.
Just sitting on the beach, and the other like walking around. You're just like, holy crap. Another time, you're walking through like a trail through the bush. No, stay here. And all of a sudden, you get too close, and like a nesting seal will just rear up its head. And you're like, whoa. It's like 2 meters over this one. You're like, just go around. You're like, holy crap. So it's just being in nature and seeing like, the various penguins and the seals and the birds and everything. It's just the imagery and the memories from that whole trip. I mean, it's something that will stay with you for your whole life. So people might go, $20,000. I'm like, I'd pay 50, because the memories and the stuff that I saw and the stuff that I witnessed is just, it's like being inside a nature, we call it National Geographic documentary or something, a BBC thing. It's like I am that guy. But yeah, it's like the stories and the things. It's like it's special. And for the no, what are you doing? Is the door closed?
It is, but we can open it.
No. If it's closed, I can let it down.
Yeah.
Oops, did I just unplug something? But yeah, it's a special place. And, after going there and kind of seeing it the first time, I fell in love with it, and it's my favorite spot on the planet.
Wow.
It's just magic. It's devoid of everything that, society is. And it's just raw and unkempt and wild and just big, expansive. The space and like down there, your sense of perception is kind of blown out because you can't tell how far something is. You can say, like, you see that island over there, and the island's actually like super far away, but and stuff's just messed up. It's
interesting how different places will do that. Like when we went to Perth last year, the main thing that caught me off guard was it's so flat that the sky feels bigger.
Really?
And that sounds stupid to say.
No.
But when you're there and you're looking around, you're like, I feel really small. I feel smaller.
They say something about Montana. It's like a big sky country.
Yeah.
I've never been, but I'd love to go check it out because I just hear it's just beautiful, wild, like cowboy country type stuff.
Yeah.
Rolling hills and big sky. I guess the clouds are beautiful. But I imagine the same sort of thing, just like, but it is, I can imagine you just got the flat plain. And then it's just like, this much blue instead of this much blue.
Yeah. Or even just here around the valley, like I feel like half the sky's taken up by hills, which isn't bad, but
I like the hills because, Florida's kind of flat in the same way, but it's yucky, it's humid, and it's
a swamp country.
And there's alligators and crocodiles and things. My sister lives there. My mom.
Does she enjoy it? Do they enjoy it?
I guess, yeah. The warmth.
Probably been there long enough.
They've been there forever and ever.
Yeah.
But me, every time I go to visit, I'm just like.
We were watching something the other night, Swamp Fest, it's called.
Oh, I actually saw a video on the YouTube.
On the YouTube?
I saw Swamp Fest.
Yeah.
I kid you not, probably watching it the same very time.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of it because, I was like, they're just jumping off this big truck and they're and all this stuff.
Shooting fireworks at each other.
Yeah, like I had enough of this. Got lost going down the rabbit hole watching your videos on YouTube. But I know what you're talking about. And there's other weird things that they do over there, man. It's like, I saw like another video where they were just driving cars. They would set a brick on the pedal and just launch these cars off this cliff, and there'd be like just a group of people down there, like,
yeah.
This is a thing.
Yeah,
it's been going on for ages, man. Like it's like a 4th of July type celebration,
I'm at the point now where I'm not surprised if something's a thing anymore because
it's pretty interesting.
Everything's ridiculous.
It's like these whole other cultures and like hobbies and things that I would never get myself interested in, but it's like sitting there like 4-wheeling and all these dirt bikes and mountain climbing. And, I watched one where they had a race here in New Zealand. It was like in the Waikato, I think. And it's these guys just go dirt biking, and it's like, I watched the entire thing, man. It was brutal, like an hour and a half. He's just going through like the worst terrain.
Yeah.
Up this, it's zigzagging up these that are like, you can't go up this way because that's literally that steep. So they're going like this way and then back this way and up this way. And just by the end, these guys are just a wreck. I'm thinking, I don't know, man. Now, dirt bikes look fun, but that looks like a lot of work to me.
Yeah.
It's like a bit too much. But yeah, it's, interesting what you can find out there.
Yeah, big time.
What kind of hobbies you getting into? Anything like that?
Not really. This is about it for now.
Yeah. This is kind of cool that you set this up. It's like, I remember when you told me that you were going to do it, and now I'm sitting here. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's props for that. That's
well, that's something I like to do in my life. Is if I say I'm going to do something, try hard to do it. I'm
the same. Here's an extreme example. I was out in LA with a friend, and we were talking trash, partying one night. I'm drunk. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get my belly button pierced. Well, didn't do it that night. I guess the place was closed or something. It was late. But the next day, come around, you wake up hungover, and you're just like, Venice Beach. And like, they're like, hey, last night you were talking about getting your belly button pierced. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay, let's go.
Right now.
Went out there, went to Venice Beach and went out to an interesting place, and I walked in. I'm like, man, I want to get my belly button pierced. And I'm like, don't give me one of those like little skinny like girl thin ones. I'm like, what's the fattest ball gauge? What's the fattest you can give me? I'm like, make it masculine. So so we put this like 16 gauge, I think it was.
Holy.
And I'm like, all right, cool. So I lay down on the thing, and he gets the needle out. And he's like, pinches the skin. He's ready to shove this rod through my gut, and I'm laying there, and he's like, "Oh, take a breath and hold it." And I'm like, and he goes, and he starts shoving. His arm's doing this like flexing thing where it's like pushing all this pressure and tension. And I'm like, holy cow, how much skin is he pushing this thing through? And he's like, okay, breathe. He's like, take another breath. I'm like, second round, shoving it again, and then he pops through, and I'm just like, I'm like, holy crap. So then he threads this thing, pulls it through, puts the ball in, screws it off. And then he's like, kicks me on my way after I pay $50. I'm like, all right, thanks a lot. I go outside and just like lean against the wall and hold on, Colleen. I got to take a break. I'm like, I'm lightheaded. I'm like, what just happened? Almost passed out. But after a minute or two, just kind of resting, I'm like, okay.
Do you still have it?
No, it grew out. It kind of, sometimes the skin will kind of push out. It started to do that and push it out a little bit, and it got a little bit, a little thin. I'm like, I think we're done.
That's fair.
But, talked about it, followed through, did it, had it for, a year or two.
Oh, yeah.
So, it was around for a while. But, say you're going to do something, do it.
I think that's important.
I like being held accountable like that, so.
Accountability is a word we like on this podcast.
Just recently, I was like talking about getting back into brewing the beer.
Cool.
And, it was the whole action of talking about it and getting it out there and throwing it out into the ether that actually said, okay, I've talked about it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get that stuff out of the garage. I'm going to clean it off. I'm going to put it in the bedroom. I'm just going to, get things, my ducks in a row. It's a process. And, a week or two or three later, it was like, had a brew going. A couple of weeks after that, I bought the kegerator. A little while after that, and cleaned some kegs, did a brew, pulled it out of the fermenter into the keg, into the fridge. Problem. I went through it. I didn't tape all my joins with my cables and tubes and whatever they're called, hoses. So I kept burning through CO2 tanks. 2 days later, it's like, why is it empty? I'm like, oh, I got to tape this. And I go and tape something else, put a new tank in there. 2 days later, it's flat again. I'm like, what's going on? Got to tape these too. Crap, got to take these off, tape these things. And then, I think 2 or 3 tanks.
Wow.
I won in the end.
Yeah.
Always win, but, it's a process. You got to learn. You got to go and do it. Now it's like, I probably will never do that again because now I know to double check, triple check all of my hoses, make sure everything's all taped off before I go plugging this in. Now it's working amazingly. I come home from work, pull the lever, beer comes out. Like, how good.
That's what you want?
Oh man, that's, long time coming because that was ultimately the dream. And I've got 2 kegs in the fridge and probably next holiday. going to do
How
it.
long ago was it? Yeah, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago even.
What?
You were first talking about brewing beer.
Well, that's when I got the stuff over COVID, right?
Yeah.
COVID was hit, and I'm like, money in the bank, can't afford a house. What's this money for? It's to spend it. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to brew some beer. And, it was a hobby, something I was kind of curious about. And I just went in head first, bought everything.
Yeah.
Just like whole kit. And started watching some videos, started learning how to do this and figuring it all out. And, the first beer was a clone of a Panhead.
Oh, okay.
The Blue Label, whatever one that is. I don't drink Panhead typically.
No, I know the Radferd.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. So I did that, and the beer was a bit on the bitter side, but it was drinkable.
Okay.
And we drank it and got rid of it. This was like the first 2 sessions I did. I bottled everything. Manny, I hear you over there. But so we bottled the beer on those first 2 sessions, and I drank the first one. Come here. And the next one was a stout, and the stout was, by all accounts, it was all right. It was drinkable. I just did another stout, a milk stout, with this new, go in it.
Putting milk stout.
Yeah, it just means it has like some lactose in it. So it's part toward the end of the boil. You tip in all this lactose, like a big bag of it like this, and it just gives it a creamier, kind of a little bit more sweet in flavor. Castle's is a brand that makes a milk stout, and they've won like awards. People say, "Oh, it's right up there with Guinness." Castle's milk,
Oh wow,
it's right up there. It is good. But the stout that I made, from the recipe at my brew guy, brought that home, plugged everything in, tipped in all the grains, did all the boil, and put it into the fermenter, followed everything through, tried not to screw up. You get little mistakes here and there. Like you forget to close a valve and you start putting beer in the fermenter and you're like, what's that noise? Oh, no. And crap's all over the floor and you're like, oh man, it's all sticky now and black. And, but now I know. So
yeah.
Turn the valves, pay attention. But, no, I want to keep doing it. I want to keep pushing myself. The next stout I do with the next holiday, whatever, the next Matariki. I think Matariki soon. And I think we get like a Friday off if we do. I'm going to do brew day on that. And that'll be another stout where I'll go and throw me down and try some adjuncts. Adjuncts is adding stuff in, like vanilla pods or oak chips. Like a sense of like, oakiness. Or, more sugar if you want to try and raise the ABV, the alcohol by volume.
Okay.
And make it.
Is that what that stands for?
ABV, alcohol by volume.
I never knew that. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what, constitutes like, it's a 5.3.
Right.
It's a 6.9, whatever. They have one at Balin's down the road here. That's, is 10%. It's called Vanazar.
10%.
Yeah, it's good. They only give you like a little half glass, because you get a full glass. You drink 2 of those, you'd be like,
yeah.
But it's good. So I want to try and get something that's a little bit higher ABV. And all you got to do with that is just like more sugar into the mix, and then just a higher, bigger grain bill.
Right.
So instead of like 9 kilos of grains, maybe it's 13 kilos of grains, and you tip all those in and you do your batch, and you kind of hope for the best. But it's, right now I'm still following recipes. That's why I want to branch out a little bit and try something, take a recipe and like, tweak it and adjust it. Just with like those 2 things, maybe like vanilla pods and those oak chips, put those in.
Yeah.
Then drink the beer this next time, see how it varies from the first time.
Does Manny want to go to the toilet or?
No, he's done the toilet. Manny, come over here, bud. Come here. You're going to get a bath.
Come on, Manny. Who are you by the door?
Come here. Come over here. Come here. Get over here. You're going to get in trouble.
He's doing his own thing.
Come here. Come on, up here.
What led you towards construction?
Necessity.
That happens.
I saw a bunch of people walking down the street with belts on and lots of tools, and I saw it on TV. They said, we need more tradespeople, and I needed a job and a paycheck real bad. So Yanni escaped, got out of the backyard where I was staying, and I went looking for him. And the builders, they're building a house right next door. The builders had him. We were holding on to him. I'm like, oh, thanks for getting my dog. I really appreciate it, guys. And I thought, hey, while I'm here, can I talk to you guys about building? And they're like, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, took a break from 10 minutes. And we talked about, a little this and all that. And I basically interviewed them. And I got some information. And as you do in the building industry, you write on pieces of wood. So they handed me a 2x4, 4x2, sorry. Yeah, 4x2. And with a couple company names on it. Went back to the house, called the first company name, got in touch with the guy, blah, 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 and had a job. Come in and talk to me on Monday. Had a job, one phone call. I'm like, that was easy. So I walked away from film right then. I'm like, I'm done with film. In 6 months, I can't get a job. I'm done.
Yeah. The steady paycheck will do that.
Yeah. And I had been, gallivanting around the world and little this and little that. Just like, it got old. I'm like, I just want to stay in one place. I just want to set some roots and I just want things to stop spinning.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And for that, it's been good for that because, been steady, constant work, different, different jobs, different, types of work. And, I like what I'm doing right now. And, I keep showing up.
Yeah.
They keep paying me. So I'll keep doing it until I can, supplant it and replace it with, the side hustle.
Yeah.
Manny, you're going to get in trouble. Get over here. Come here. I'm going to give you a bath. Get over here. Come here. He doesn't like that.
No.
Come here. You want a bath? Get up here. Come here. Come on. Get over here. Come on. Up. Okay. Now, lay down. Yeah, it's the only leverage I have over him. So
yeah.
He hates the bath. And otherwise I got nothing.
No bathing.
Yeah. You just, will, run roughshod right over me. Don't listen. And they're, he'll stop and just lay down when we're on a walk and be like, refuse to go. And I'm like, oh, come on, really? So you're playing that game, We looked at like the bad guy. Like if I yank you, people are going to see me like, look at that guy. He's being bad, yanking his dog around. I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So we have a game. I go over there and I have to like lift him up and make it kind of a funny thing and, and just laugh and all this. It's a routine, really.
Well, it works.
Oh, but yeah.
How long have you been qualified for?
Don't know. Don't care.
Yeah. Okay.
No, years maybe.
Yeah.
If I don't, because time and numbers don't mean that much to me. I don't pay attention too much. It's like, people are like, oh, how old are you? And they hear and they're like, what?
All the time I've known you, I've never known your age.
It's just a number.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you here.
That's fair. I don't need to find out now.
No, it's just a number. It's just no big deal. How old do you think I am? We spoiled it because I've talked about it, but
I couldn't tell you.
All right, I'll tell you. What am I? To be honest, I don't even know the real number. It's like 57, 50.
Yeah, I was going to say you've been in your 50s somewhere.
Something like that. But, some people are like, no, I thought you're like, 45. Like, could be.
Yeah.
Just a number. It's how you feel. And
well, that's it. Yeah.
Throw yourself out there. And I'm kind of holding together pretty well. I guess I got good genes.
Yeah. Something's working out right for you.
Yeah. Well, it is now, but, when I was younger and I wanted to be like big, I looked up the bodybuilders. That was the phase I was going through. I'm like, yeah, I want to be bigger. I want to be, put some size on. Couldn't.
Yeah.
So as a kid, pretty deflated that I couldn't, do something I set my mind out to.
But I think you've said it to me before, like the weight and size you've been like that for like 40 years?
Since I was like 16. I've not changed really. I mean, maybe I've lost a little bit of like my muscle mass just, because I'm not physically going to the gym and like pushing things and working out anymore. It just kind of like stayed here. It's like, oh, this is what you get. I'm like, all right. And I'm always amazed when I hear people that can, shift their weight and they can put on weight and they can take off weight. I'm like, what? You're like, you can morph and warp and you can change. You're like a changeling. I find that fascinating because I can't do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the human body's interesting like that. I'll have times like that, like before a meal and after meal, I'll look like a different human.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you eat that much?
Sometimes. I was pregnant.
No, that's nuts. What about that dude on YouTube? Beard Meets Food. Seen that guy? He goes and does these.
That's familiar, yeah.
He does these food challenges. It's oddly addicting watching.
And he would just gorge. Yeah.
He won't eat for like 2 days. And then he'll go do this challenge and he'll be famished and starving. He'll walk in, oh, I'm here to do the challenge. And they put these big things in front of him and he ate a pie today. I watched. He ate a pie and had some mashed potatoes with it. Like more than, what did they say? 3 kilograms of food.
Wow.
At least. Oh, and the potatoes were like, in addition to that, the pile of potatoes was big as well. But he puts it down. I'm like, how does this guy freaking walk after that? It's crazy. I don't know, man. He's got some special ability.
Yeah. Just pack it away.
Yeah. The things I've seen this guy eat, man, it's like, you're just looking like jaw drops.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I was younger, it'd probably be more appropriate, but because, had a big appetite. I used to eat like a kid coming off this mountain skiing or snowboarding or something. You come down, hit like In-N-Out and just like, I'll have 2 double doubles and cheeseburgers and fries and milkshake. And you just kind of keep ordering and you just eating everything. Not like that anymore.
Is that something you miss about the States? In-N-Out burger? I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's good. That's another one of those special things. They've dialed into a routine where they get their beef from a certain place. They don't have any fridges or freezers. Maybe freezers, but everything's brought in fresh on the day. It's like potatoes brought in fresh. And you want fries? It's like, here's the potato, here are fries. They use a healthier kind of oil for you. And the lettuce and all the vegetables, everything's like brought in fresh on the day. So it's just like a nice, delicious burger. You nailed it. Portions are kind of right, 2 patties and the cheese and everything just balances out. And you just, and they have that little special menu too, where it's like a secret menu where you can, you can go online, you can find out like, oh, what's a 4x4? What's animal style? What are these things? Oh, and it's like animal style, I think, is with mustard. 4x4s, you can get a typical double, but 4x4s, 4 patties, 4 cheeses, and they'll stack it up, and there's other ones. There's like a protein burger of some sort where they don't give you a bun and it's like they wrap the burger in lettuce. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So they do that. It's kind of special, kind of fun. There's always like a late night go-to in California to finish party and you're like, In-N-Out, everyone just head over the In-N-Out, just sit in, the line for the drive-through and, midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting some feed. A lot of good memories there. That and Mexican food, right? But you guys have Taco Bell here.
I've been there once. It was okay.
That was one of the places we used to go when we were young and we didn't know what taste buds were. I know that it's here, but, my taste buds have evolved and I don't think there's any way you can get me in there.
Yeah.
It's probably expensive too, right?
Yeah, it was relatively
like
expensive.
McDonald's is like, I think I went and took a friend from McDonald's and I spent $50. I'm like, $50? How did that happen? McDonald's in the States, you can walk in, walk out for like $6 and be stuffed. Yeah.
Not here.
How is it $50 here? And I'm like, well, that's the last time I go into McDonald's. It's not even really food.
I remember when I was a kid, before they brought in the made to order thing at McDonald's, and pretty much like every 10, 15 minutes, a dude would be walking out with a sack, like a trash sack full of burgers.
Really? For what?
They'd make them, and if they didn't sell, they'd throw the rest away.
Oh, really? No way. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
My mom had a job like that back in California where she worked at a donut shop.
Okay.
And the donut shop did the same thing. Donuts at the end of the day, they would just clean the racks. My mom would throw them all in a trash bag, come home from work, the big old trash bag full of donuts, stock the freezer. I'm like, yeah, as a kid, donuts, you sit down at 3, 4, 5 donuts at a time. Like, oh, it's so good. It was great, man. I highly recommend getting a family member working at donuts.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That was epic. Oh, man. Oh, what else?
I don't know. As I say, I kind of I didn't really plan anything for today, unfortunately.
Do you usually plan?
No.
Winging it.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess because I've got Mondays Monday's my day that I dedicate to this. And I just get busy throughout the week. And then Monday.
Doing that same day job that you were telling me about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just paying the bills, really, until I can kick this off the ground. But in saying that, Bradley was saying to me today that we've been signed up for monetization. So
we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's something new.
Yeah. Well, I've got to find. If you're a brand and you're watching this, I'll I'll sponsor you. You sponsor me.
Yeah, and you just got to do more research into it and keep pushing and keep doing what you're doing. And that's like it. When I started this whole print on demand thing, you're miserable and you're angry because no one's looking at your stuff and you're not getting any sales and there's no feedback. I'm not getting any reviews. And it's like then all of a sudden things change and you get a review and then you sell something and then you sell something that is like an 8-item order. You're like, whoa, I sold a multiple. And then it's like, and then this and then that. Now the latest thing is my shop is like, they have these little things called star sellers. They give you like badges. If you reply to emails promptly, if you have good customer service, if you do this and that, and there's certain criteria, you'll get star seller badge. And it's like a little badge and it shows up. And then when people go there, they'll be like, oh, a star seller badge. They're obviously running their shop.
It's more incentive for them to buy from you.
Yeah. It means they're going to have a good experience, not less problems because, we're running our shop in a tip-top, tight, organized fashion, because I realize that, that's part of your reputation. If you run a crappy shop and you got crappy stuff, it's like, it's never going to build and grow. You got to put love into it. You got to care about it. You got to nurture it and, pay attention and do good designs and all this. And you got to keep listing every day. You got to keep touching it, keep working on it. Yeah. Same thing with this. I think this, you keep doing it, keep learning. You're going to hit these milestones.
Consistency.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're probably going to run out of people here in New Zealand, though. It's not enough people here for your podcast.
Well,
import them.
I'm not narrowing it down to just people who necessarily, I don't know, people might want to hear from. Like, I'm asking everyone.
Yeah. How are you finding that? Are you getting good feedback? People being receptive? And
pretty much no feedback so far.
That's some feedback.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. That's one message that I keep saying to the viewers, whoever they are, is if you are viewing, leave a comment or a like or anything.
I just should text earlier.
You did.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that.
That's good.
And hopefully that's not on all of
No, because I went to another one and everything was peachy creamy and fine. So a glitch in the system somewhere.
Yeah, but that's all good. I told Bradley about that and we'll address that issue. Could just be the fact that it was our longest one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe something happened in the upload process. You never know with technology. There's a glitch in the system. Maybe your internet went.
Yeah.
It only took part of the data. Hi. Are you having fun on your first podcast? Yeah. Pretty relaxing, huh? We're just chilling, relaxing. Yeah. Better than sitting on the couch having a nap, isn't it?
Yeah. He's like, no.
Hanging out with me. Yeah, it's good. It's all right. Oh, yeah. I figured I'd better bring him better than that. And, still a holiday. Still we're having little adventures and any chance to get him out of the house. And he likes to stick his head out the, door, like in the car, like everybody else, and just breathe in the whole surroundings and kind of see what's what. This whole world comes through his nose. He loves it. Don't you? His favorite thing is to, when we're walking down the street somewhere, especially like Jackson Street, if it's like trash night, people put the boxes out. He loves they're going to smell like stacks and stacks of boxes. It's like, whatever he's smelling, like wherever these boxes have been in their travels, he's getting like the whole journey of all these, and there's a plethora of like 50 boxes. Like, what is that? It must be like a rainbow of like smells for him.
Yeah.
But it's pretty funny. He's got his little quirks. But you're a good boy. Did I tell you about him getting attacked?
You mentioned it when you came in. So what happened?
Well, we went to Waitanui Dog Park.
Yeah.
And never been up there before. So went up and we saw some small dogs and then went into the small dog pen. Wiener dogs, right? Sausage dogs. Yeah, I'm going to tell this story again. Just relax. So let's go say hi to the small dogs. And just the three of them in there. And went in, close the gate. I'm right by the gate, man. He's right at my feet, and these dogs come over, man. His tail is up like this, and I don't know what that means in dog lingo. Maybe he's displaying. I'm not sure what it means, but his tail was up, and the dogs came over, and the owner of the dog, she was 3-4 meters away, far too far away to do anything once it blew up in my face. And one of the dogs just went and blew up, and it just turned into chaos right at my feet. I went down on one knee, and I'm trying to throw off dogs and pull them apart because they're biting onto him. And, it was just like one biting his back, one biting his neck. I was like, what the?
All sausage dogs.
3 of them, yeah. I found out later they were a hunting pack. She had trained them to be a hunting pack.
Really?
She didn't. She was like, I saw his tail was up like this, and she's like, I couldn't act quick enough. And they just erupted, and it went from 0 to crazy in split second. And it was horrifying. Like the noises again, him yelping, trying to pick him up. And I got him up, and I'm shaking, freaking out. And he's there, and we got out of the pen. And I was just like, oh, what the heck just happened, man? And I'm, concerned for him. And it was like the holiday we just had a couple weeks back. It was a Monday. And I wanted to take him to the after hours vet to have him looked at because it was like 5 p.m. it happened. And we went down there and checked that place out. And I have a little PSA, don't go to that place on a holiday because they charge you twice your normal fee. So, $500 later, he's okay. It doesn't need stitches, but we got some pain meds and some antibiotics. And, within a week, I think he was back to normal, feeling, himself again.
Yeah.
And, you're back into it now. Now, every time I see another dog, I'm just like, it's just going to be another explosive episode. I'm going to be careful. So 3 times he's been attacked now. I feel like I'm a bad dog parent. I don't know.
Well, I don't think so. You took him to the vet, so that's a good start.
Yeah, take care of me, humble, and look after you.
I'm interested to know what's a couple of achievements that you're right.
Yeah, my foot fell asleep. It's really tingly. It's kind of funny. Some achievements. What? I'm sorry.
What are some achievements that I guess you're really proud of?
I guess I'm proud that I was able to give the eulogy at my brother's funeral. That was pretty daunting, but I felt necessary at the same time.
Okay.
Family looked at me and they're like, we'd like you to give the eulogy. I'm like, absolutely no problem. And, sat down, wrote something and, told some funny stories and just got up and, man, it freaked me out because there were hundreds of people at this thing. I was like, well, if I died, I probably only had 5 people at my funeral. It's like, no one will show up. But
I don't know. It's easy to think that, but
outpouring is crazy. I was just blown away when I get up there. It's scary. I couldn't help but think good thing I took a speech class in college, because it taught me to speak in front of people.
Yeah.
This is where this kicks in. Use that skill. But, that was something that was pretty memorable, pretty important. And, proud to have been able to, do that for him. I'm not sure.
It's a pretty broad question.
Yeah. I was happy and proud. I was proud I had long hair once down my waist and, freakishly long. And I had, toward the end, I shaved it off December 31st, 1999, because I thought, I want to come into the year 2000, a bald head and fresh and new. And so I was snowboarding in Utah by myself, having time. And I bleached it right up to this. The weeks before, I had bleached my hair white. So, and I was dyeing it. I had friends at work that were all they wanted to dye it. So I was dyeing it all these random weird colors. We went to Mexico for this, music festival. And at one point, the top layer was red. And then the middle layer was orange. And underneath that, it was yellow. So it looked like this fire hair. And it was it was so bright. I got down to this festival, headed out for half of the first day, was getting so much attention from it that I just took one of the walks the firing hat and just hopped it up underneath it, just left it there for the rest of the week. Oh, man, just leave it up there. But, we're doing a lot of that. But when I went to Utah, I was back to being like bleached blonde, kind of like this white. It was, down to my waist. So it's like a lot of hair.
What's your natural hair color?
Oh, it's brown. It's brown or gray. Now it's
gray. Well, yeah, it's not brown now, but
hey, it used to be. Used to be. So brown. And doing all that, but I was staying on the side of the road, and I used to get, even when I was driving, the hair was long, and be hanging here, and like guys pull up alongside, and, you'd look over, and then you'd catch them looking like, who's the hot chick with the long hair? And then I, no. So that was the thing that I had before. I was even getting like, I stand with my back to the traffic, wait for the tram to come pick me up with my snowboard, and then you get cars honking, and you look, and you're like, It's hilarious. But shaved it out there, and here's something. I thought, instead of just like chucking it away or then whatever, I donated it to kids with cancer.
Oh, cool.
And out of that, I got a nice little postcard, thank you, in the mail. So, and they were going to take that because it was so long. They were going to make like a wig for some little kid or girl who from the cancer treatment doesn't have hair. So they were going to something good. I thought, this is good karma. Give this to somebody to help them out, and then hopefully good things will come back to me that way. So it's always something that I thought was kind of cool, and I like getting that postcard. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, but any others? I don't know. What was the question again? You think something I'm proud of?
I guess, yeah. You worked on Avatar, did you? You did.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
We don't have to talk about that. You gave me a look like.
Oh, it was difficult, man. I mean, it was a difficult show. Nothing like that stereoscopic, 3D had been done at Weta before. And the department that I landed myself in, called Layout, didn't exist before Avatar. So they created this new department, and with all these new procedures and all these new tools that were just kind of written real quick. And they just kind of made it up as they went. And things changed almost on a weekly basis. Like, when did that become a thing? How come no one told me about that? And we're trying to make this movie, and stuff is not.
And systems keep changing.
Yeah, it's like all over the shop, and like nothing's pinned down. Nothing's for sure. Nothing's like my old job. I knew what it was. They're like, oh yeah, you come in. Here's your subject. That guy riding that horse, we need him rotoed. Cool. I'll get right on it. And I started doing my job. I knew what my software was. I knew how to do, what was required and what the end result was. In Layout, I don't know. It's like everyone's winging it. We just got to get this stuff in, do whatever you can to get this extracted out and break that apart, and then to go into 3D, bring that in here, import that, build this whole, put your camera in there, and then here's the thing, and put all your stuff. Oh my God, it was just like an uphill battle. I think they refined it. And they got rid of a lot of those old things, and they redesigned a whole lot of this and that. And I think the second film was, a whole lot better and smoother probably than the first one was.
Technologically, yes.
Yeah.
The storyline.
Yeah. No, but it was, what's the Wallace and Gromit, right?
Yeah.
It's like, is there what was one, is it a new set of trousers? Which one's the one with the Gromit? He's sitting on the train, and the train's going along, and he's laying the tracks down as the train's going. It's that image of like laying the tracks down before the train just goes over it. That's exactly what Layout was like for Avatar. It's like, we were trying to make this movie, and the movie's coming, it's barreling down on us, and we're just over here like, oh my God, lay another track.
Yeah.
It's just like, it keeps coming. I'm like, no, write more software, do this, here's a new process, here's that.
You're laying down the track, but you're also having to build and design the track.
It's coming right at us, man. And we're just like, if it was crazy. I don't have good memories of that film. That film was just stressful, chaotic. There's a whole lot of like, I don't know. We just kind of keep doing it. I'm like, we're getting there. It was fun watching it come together and watching it go from like the crap that I was doing, putting it together and making the jungles and all this kind of stuff and dressing the scenes.
Mm.
And then watching it, the joy for me was to watch it go into the other departments where they'd put shaders on the plants and like the things and the ships and all this kind of stuff and the characters. And then they light them. They put the lights in.
And everything starts coming to life.
Yeah, and it renders and you start seeing it. Like, this is what it's going to look like. Like, whoa, look at the bioluminescence. How cool is that? And things glowing and everything and turquoise and pinks and all this. I'm like, wow, that's great. So the look was, that's what kind of, kept me engaged and interested, was like watching things come together. Like, what's that going to look like when it's finished? Like,
yeah.
Because, it just goes through all these different iterations along the way, from like real rough stuff that's just gray shaded models in 3D, not too exciting to look at. And then it moves on down the line and it starts to become the film and you're like, ooh, nice. So yeah, but very, very difficult. And, yeah, not something I want to repeat.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
Have you found construction to be more rewarding?
Creatively, no.
No.
It's an odd one because, it was not ever a passion for me. Like some people it is.
Yeah.
It's like they're really excited about it and they're like, this is their thing. And they end up being like, really into it and like they get good at it and they specialize in certain things. And I just show up for the paycheck. I mean, if I'm honest, it's like,
I remember we both had a foreman years ago, who was all in on the job, was really passionate about it, but kind of became not very likable guy. And I feel
I'm
like,
not sure which one you're talking about, but yeah, a couple of those guys.
Yeah.
I think I know. Well, yeah.
I think you know too.
I don't know.
It's interesting, like with creative outlets, I guess they look different for everyone, but I feel like if you are a creative person, like that's something that does need to be acted on,
Maybe you got a sense of this. I'll tell you a story that I came to understand from the inside once I got into the building trade. I had heard that, somebody said once, oh, it's difficult for me to have like an intellectual, deep conversation with any of these guys at work, and I was looking going, what do you mean? And I didn't quite understand what he was getting at until I actually got into the industry, started doing the job, met some of the people, and then I, saw how it works. I'm like, now I know exactly what that comment was. It's a whole lot different an industry than, one like the film industry, for instance, where you have people from all walks of educational life and different, job, career paths. I worked with guys that were jet propulsion lab, rocket scientists. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I don't belong with these guys. These guys are like some serious, smart people. I'm not that smart, but I felt like fake it till you make it, sort of. And I was doing it. Did it for, 20 odd years. But, some of the guys had some serious brain power, and they get their specialty, whether it's like mathematics or, computer code writing things, they can multitask. The ones who really succeeded in the film industry are people who are very good technically and very good creatively. So if you could write code and program and you could understand all your algorithms and all your your exponent, whatever the things are, the numbers. You can understand all that and write your little tools and do all this and be creative and do the creative side of the job too. You're going to step right on up the ladder. You're going to do real well.
Yeah.
I was only half of that equation. I couldn't code my way out of a paper bag. I tried it once. I tried taking some classes and I looked at the code and I, got in there and I'm like, all I see are letters and numbers and lines of text and I don't really care. I just had zero interest in any of that.
Yeah.
So, I just thought, hey, I'm just nothing wrong with being really good at one thing. I'm going to be really good at this over here. And I banked on that and it got me all over the place. So, and then, I evolved. I went away from rotoscoping. I learned texture painting and I did that for a film or two. And then I went away and I learned layout and did that for a film or two. And then I went away and I learned animation and I did that for a bunch of films, London and, out here. And animation is really fun, really difficult, especially the creature animation. Super difficult, It takes a special I guess it's just time, I think. Time and persistence to kind of get into it and do it again and again and again and kind of like, get your chops and really understand it. But, some of that crap is just next level hard, like a dragon, right? You got a dragon. The dragon's got like a long, curvy body. It's got a long, curvy tail. It's got dangly feet. It's got wings.
Scales,
long neck, these are all things that have to act and move independent of one another, and the whole thing has to work as a whole, right? So imagine trying to make this whole thing work, and like as once if you move this bit here, it's going to have an effect on this bit back here. So it's like, and everything's got a secondary motion overlap and all this and all the 12 principles of animation going on. I mean, it's hard.
And then you're trying to balance the geometry of a creature that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Make it look real, right? It has real physics and real weight and real believability. But buddy Jason, you're really good at that crap. Just like a natural and just gets it.
Yeah.
He is largely responsible, and he ran a team of people for the Game of Thrones.
Oh, wow.
Dragons. Yeah, extremely talented. Jason is one of these freaks of nature who just really gets it, understands it.
Yeah.
And he knows the software inside out. He's just like, a whiz-bang like that.
Wow.
But those are the people that make, Saturday night entertainment really, really cool. So thanks, Jason. And everybody else.
Yeah. What are the 12 rules of animation?
I don't know all 12 of them right now because I haven't done that in a long time.
Fit.
But here's a story. I did an animation. I was using some DVDs to learn, and I was in my own little room doing my little thing, taking my time, following along with the DVD. And I finished this little piece, and I thought I had something kind of cool. It was a little character sitting at a desk, and he was counting some pennies. And he like looks up and is like, $2, And I thought it was kind of cool. And I showed a friend, and he looked at it and he's like, oh, sure. I'm like, that wasn't the reaction I expected to get. And from that, I thought, like, uh-oh, what's wrong? And then he proceeded to tell me about the 12 principles of animation. And did I know what they were? And I said, no, I did not. And it wasn't covered on this DVD I was following, And so he told me about that. I went back and like researched it, looked into it. And I was like, oh, okay, crap. There's a whole lot more to this animation thing that I needed to know. So I found out that there were online courses that you can take for exorbitant amounts of money. So I promptly signed up for one of them, dropped, a ton of cash on this 18-month program.
Wow.
And spent the next, couple of years doing animation, learning the 12 principles. The principles are the things that make animation. It's like, there's like overlap, we're like, I don't know, secondary motion, which is like, if you're shaking like a cat, you're shaking the cat like this, for instance, secondary motion would be like the cat's tail kind of doing this. As you're shaking the cat's, head's going one way and the tail's kind of doing this. Secondary motion is that tail kind of flopping. That's
like something that you wouldn't notice if it was happening in front of you, but you would notice if it wasn't there.
Well, it's just like, it's not the primary thing that you're animating.
Right.
It's just an addition, like, or if someone had a scarf on, and it's like you're walking and the scarf is blowing in the wind, the scarf, kind of does this. It's like, that would be a sort of like secondary, I think. If you just move them through space and their scarf is kind of like doing this, that's kind of secondary, I think. There's overlap, there's silhouette, there's pose, having a strong pose, having a strong silhouette, making your character look as good as he can, stretched out with arcs. Arcs is another one, having arcs in like the back, and, however you're posing your character, you want to look at arcs if you're like reaching for something. So, you don't want to have, stuff like, you want to have like stuff with a good silhouette. So, instead of having the arm here, you want to arm out to the side so you can see that arm and this arm over here, instead of like this. If I got, things are inside of me, you're not going to see that in the silhouette, and it's not going to look as good.
Yeah.
So, you'll come into seeing a lot of that in poses and things like with the Marvel films and superheroes. And, they're always like striking big.
Geez, what a cash cow those Marvel movies.
Cannot stand them.
Yeah.
If I see another leotard, tight skin, I'll tell you, man. Actually, I put one of those uniforms on.
Really?
Yeah. Fantastic Four.
Okay. The first one they put out?
I don't know.
Jessica Alba?
Maybe. I can't remember.
2004?
Probably.
No.
Yeah. They would have had a handful of shots for that. And we needed some texture reference, for people that do the textures, for the digi-doubles, the digital characters.
Okay.
You have to paint them in the uniform and the boots and all this kind of stuff. So I got out there, put on was it Johnny Fire, whatever his name was. I put on his suit. And first of all, you got to put a muscle suit on. So you put the muscle suit on. It's like skin tight. It's like peach colored. You put this whole thing on. It's got like padded muscles into it to like pad you out, make you look bigger than you are. It's kind of like what I want to be bodybuilder.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to be like that with muscle suit. So I put this muscle suit on and then I pull this blue skinny tight suit on over top of that. And meanwhile, as you're zipping this thing up, the heat is increasing. You realize like, holy cow, I'm starting to bake in this thing. And now I know why they get paid millions of dollars. I would not want to be in that. It's like torture.
Yeah.
I was in it for like 20 minutes. I was just sweat dripping off my head. I'm just like, get me out of this thing, man. This is miserable. I hate this. But I put it on, zipped it all up, put the boots on, the gloves on, stood on the little like turntable, in the T pose, arms out. Because that way you can see all sides of, everything. And, they're like, they just take a picture, rotate me, 20 degrees, take a picture, rotate me 20 degrees, take a picture. So, you're doing the T pose and you're getting all sides of this costume they can use for texture reference. So I did that. I'm like, get me out of this thing, man. It was just, it was miserable. Like me, who doesn't like to sweat, doesn't like to be hot. I thought it's just torture. So, one of those little things that you do along the way, they put your hand up like, yeah, I'll do that. Just like, another thing, they called us out, put an email out. They're looking for people to come and do orcs.
Okay.
Orc
Yep.
vocalizations. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I'll go do that. And I don't know what it means, but I'll go. When you show up and there's 3 guys sitting at a desk and there's like a partition wall, not unlike this, in front of them. And on the other side, there's a microphone stand with a microphone in this big room. And you're there. And they're like, yeah, George, okay, anytime you're ready, just, step out to the mic and just, do your thing. And like, and then just, you're like grunts and groans and this and that and guttural and whatever else. And so you go and you just kind of throw it out there. You're just like, and you do that for like 30 seconds and then you lose your voice. And, they do the recording and they send it back to you like, a week later and like, hey, we need more people to come out and do it again. Here's what you sounded like the first time. And they slow it down and they affect it. And you're like, whoa, that sounds nasty. But it was fun. I had to give up on the second time. Something else was happening. But the one time was kind of fun and, interesting to go through it, so somewhere hopefully in the mix, there's a little bit of me in there screaming and going crazy. Try it sometimes. It's not fun. But yeah, it's a bit awkward. You're like, oh, this is weird,
Yeah.
Throw that out there and you just have to kind of like man up and kind of go for it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, interesting stuff going on over there.
I've seen they've got a new technology now.
You mean the circular stage?
You already know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw that too. That was not really around when I was there, but it came up real quick and I saw it and I was like, wow, looks pretty fascinating.
I think, what was it for? Maybe Fortnite?
Oh, really? Because I saw it in relation to some of the Star Wars films that they were putting together, some of those episodic, series that they did, where they could just have the actors there and just like new background, new set, and it's like, I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
turn them over here, do this, change the lighting, put this in, boom, boom. I'm like, holy cow, man, that's crazy. Sure, it speeds up things, brings the cost down a little bit. I'm sure it's a giant leap forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
that and AI, I think it'll make big changes.
I mean, the film stuff, because I'm paying attention to the AI stuff and I'm playing with it, with Midjourney, and using it for the print on demand thing. Cause it's, it's a game changer. You just go in, ask for a graphic, ask for this, ask for that. I just designed a candle the other day. I'm just like, give me a white candle that's, these dimensions on a white background, da-da-da-da-da. And I, hit the button a couple times and do some iterations. And it's like, yeah, that's more like what I want. I want that. So you can make some tweaks and adjustments. Like, yep, up-res that. That's what I want. So, before that, I, would have had to contact somebody and ask them to make it in 3D maybe.
Yeah.
But no, it's pretty cool to play with that stuff. And I follow some people on Instagram that are doing some videos, some crazy stuff. I'm like, I want to do the video. I want the video stuff to get easier.
Yeah.
And I want to do some videos because, I have a crazy creative mind. I want to do some circus clown stuff.
Yeah.
There's some weird things. But there's some people like, I think it's called Synthetic Pink.
Okay.
On Instagram, maybe synthetic_pink. I'm not quite sure.
All right.
But that, person's twisted, man. Some messed up imagery. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, I get some pretty crazy things come up on my feed on Instagram, like especially the AI videos. The one that stands out in my mind was this. It's almost perfect. Like the first split second, I was like, this is a real person. And it's this woman eating a cheeseburger. And as she's eating it, she brings her fists to her face and just her head turns into a cheeseburger. And then she starts vomiting French fries.
Yeah. It sounds like something that's like from one of these guys that I follow. Yeah. It's just like crazy imagery. And you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are fun. And that's like, I don't know what is going to happen when that kind of stuff matures and if it's going to turn into new genres and create new otherworldly possibilities that people didn't think about because it's not, it's just mind-bendingly crazy. It's like, I would go if someone made a full-length feature film out of that stuff and just there was some kind of a narrative to it, I'd be like, all in. I'd be like, this is so cool. It's like, whoa, this is just blowing your mind.
Yeah.
I'm speaking of blowing your mind. That's something that did that to me in the traditional sense. It's, just a regular film or an animated film is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that was great.
Because Spider-Man's my guy, right? He's I did an illustration of him when I was in school and he was the guy I liked. When I saw that, because I kept looking at the live action films and I'm like, I don't really like the live action. It doesn't work for me. Like the live action, it's not like it needs to be kind of gritty and kind of comic booky, and have these kind of textures, all this. And I knew what it was in my mind that I wanted to see, and I'm like, it needs to be like that. And then this movie came out, and I looked at it, and I'm like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm like, that's it. And these guys nailed it. That's what I would create, And I'm like, oh, that's it.
I really like how they had the different animation styles too for each of the different spider people.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just they did such a good job with that film. It's like, oh, come on now. It's like, it's one of my favorites. I mean, I can't go on enough about it. It's like the texture aspects of it, comic book come to moving imagery. It's just special. I think the guys at Sony they did a great job.
Yeah.
So kudos to those guys in that team.
I often think about one of my favorite films is Ready Player One. Have you seen that?
Yeah. It's live action, right?
Yeah. So basically, everyone wears a headset.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how they live their life in this virtual reality.
Right. Yep. I remember.
But things like, in the kind of introductory scene, he's showing his get-up. It's in some abandoned van, in a stack of cars, and he's got, an omnidirectional pad that he walks on. And
right. Yeah.
he puts on the visor and he's into the world,
Yeah. That's crazy.
But like how Disney's, created a version of that recently, and then with all the big leaps in AI, like, is that where we're headed?
Well, for some people they are. Not for me necessarily. Have you ever done the VR thing? You ever seen it?
Yeah, we've got a VR here. It's not at that level, obviously, but
what do you got?
Oh, what have we got? Beat Saber.
Oh,
have you ever played that? It's like you got a lightsaber and you.
No, but what is it? An Oculus or something?
This is the PlayStation one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I put on like the Oculus. A friend had one of the big systems, and put it on and looked around and played with whatever this world was and checked it out. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a bit weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's cool, it's interesting, but it's not something I'm going to spend like hours and hours and hours of my time doing. It's just not for me. I'm not a big gamer.
Yeah.
So it was never something. I was more of like a spectator when friends played PlayStation and all that stuff back in the day. I'd always flop on the couch and hang out. I'd be like, their fan group or whatever. I'm like, come on, I'm rooting for this guy.
Yeah.
But I'd never really played because the controller, I was like, I get all like pent up and angry. I'm like, my thumbs, I can't move my thumbs anymore. My thumbs are sore. And I just hated those controllers. But I used to play the stand-up video games in the arcades.
Oh, yeah?
Pinball and all that good stuff. You know, that was
Bit of
fun.
Street Fighter?
Not Street Fighter. I played Defender.
Okay.
Yeah, a little space game, you know.
Yeah.
Airplane.
Yeah.
Shooting the aliens. I was good at that, you know. It's like turning it over, you know, more than 1 million points. Like flip the whole screen. Boom, you know. It was my game.
Yeah.
You know, got really good at it.
That's cool. I'm not a big gamer myself, but one that I'm really looking forward to is they've remastered Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Okay.
And when I was a teenager, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was my jam. Like,
really?
I must have clocked that like 6 or 7 times. Not that it's a hard game to clock, but just a lot of core memories playing that game.
Tied to a time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's, you know, go through it. But yeah, after that, I don't know, played a game, 1 or 2 games, you know, and I'm like, nah, it's not my thing. I don't want to. I'd rather be outside playing in nature.
Yeah.
You know, staying on a mountaintop or something. Manny, come here, buddy. Do you want to go soon? Come here. Come here. Come on up here. Come up here. Come. Yes.
Is there anything you want to promote?
No, I'm not promoting anything.
What about your small business?
It's only available for people in the U.S., so it doesn't really do me too good to plug it and talk about it here. Because
I mean, it might. Someone in the U.S. might see this.
No, I'm not. I don't want it. It's, you know, it's just the side hustle. I'm just going to keep growing it.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep pushing on it. It'll happen when it happens. I'm not giving up. It's like I've invested in this. So it's like,
I think that's an important takeaway is, you know, just not giving up, staying consistent.
It's like, and like I said earlier, it's like I have all the skills to be able to make this work. It's like it's so easy for me. I see people come into this course because I paid for a course and I got a little bit extra information. So I'm in this course. I see people come into the course and they know nothing, and they're asking. You can tell by the questions they're asking, and you're just like, I'm like, you know. And it's like not my job to help them. It's the other people who own the course and, you know, the people they have working for them to kind of answer their questions. I could be a nice guy, but it's like, I'm not there to help them learn how to use software and to do this and to do the basic things. I'm like, you should have you know, either that or be prepared to put in a lot of time learning like these people are. But I feel like I come well equipped with my knowledge of like graphics and like, you know, my background.
Yeah.
And, you know, the technology, it's like, it's learning these things and piecing it all together with the internet, with the graphics and this and that and everything else. Like, it's so easy. I'm like, this is a cakewalk for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, people, and there's a lot of people doing a whole lot better than me, probably with half the experience or with not even anywhere near the experience I've had. But they're selling like t-shirts. I tried t-shirts in the beginning and my ego got in the way.
It happens.
Because I thought, I know better. I'm a designer, right? And there's actually a design style and a look and a feel for the type of stuff that you should be selling on Etsy. I didn't know that back then in the beginning. I know it now.
Yeah.
But I was doing all these designs thinking, yeah, that's a cool design. That looks great. Yeah, I put it up there. And it just wasn't in line with what people thought, you know, women mostly thought was cool or fit their design aesthetic. And they didn't, you know, it wasn't something that they would want to wear. It'd be something I want to wear. So I was doing it more for me, not for them. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I did all these designs for all these t-shirts and all this crap. And I scrapped them all, threw them all away. I'm like, I'm not doing shirts anymore. I'm not doing clothing. I failed at clothing and I didn't know why until much later down the line. Now I know. But I got away from that because that was with Printify doing the clothing. Now I'm with this other company and I'm just doing the drinkware right now. Candles are coming like any day now. They're on their way to us, the mock-ups and the images that we can use to make our designs and put them out there on.
It's a candle with imagery on it.
It's a candle, you know, a little bit shorter than this, probably about, you know, about that big. And it has what they're doing. It's got a white exterior. And they'll wrap it with a whole design because most of the candles that you'll see on Etsy are just like this, but they'll put a sticker on them. Like might be like a brown glass jar and they have a little sticker and that's what you put your design on. Maybe a text design says, smells like you're getting old.
right?
Or something like that, or anything you can put on there. Smells like I love you, but they're just stickers. So what we're doing with this printer, he's come up and he's added value to these candles. He's making his own candles. He's pouring the wax himself, putting the wax in his own shop in Tennessee. He's making them himself. So he's got total control over the process. He's went and sourced his own set of, fragrances, which by all accounts, we're not going to get to smell these. I'm not going to ever smell one, but by all accounts, everyone in their shop, like most of them were like everyone 100% approval. So, I've got all of those, done my own little descriptions using AI and ChatGPT to kind of like break it out. So I give everything my own name and it's customized, mine, not like everybody else's. But, he's doing this like wraparound complete design that's going to be sublimated on there. And you take, and you finish that and it's a nice print. It's not coming off. It's not a sticker. It's not peeling. It's not coming. You're not going to wash off. When your candle melts down all the way, you can throw like a little tea candle in there and then still use this thing. So it's not going to be something you use once and throw away.
Yeah.
You throw a tea candle in it and it's still going to have the memory, the message, the thing on it. And,
I guess if you wanted to, you could use it as a tumbler or.
Yeah, for reuse, right? So it's got multiple, things going for it. And it lets us put a better kind of graphic on there. We can do like whole floral prints or like a design pattern and, make it custom. You can put hearts around the whole thing. You can do whatever instead of just being limited to like whatever the sticker dimension is that you're just going to slap on the front.
Yeah.
So that's how we're standing out with this product. It's like nobody else on Etsy is doing this, the sublimation for the candles.
Well,
so when we come out with these in the next week or two, and we start, flooding Etsy with them, we're going to be like, oh, I want one of those candles because it's got the whole wraparound print, blah, blah, blah. It's different than what everyone else is doing. So that's going to set us apart. And hopefully, if I can do my designs right, give me a little edge over some of the other guys. They should be very giftable. Hopefully, when holidays hit, they'll be like nice little gift items to give, especially if you hit the right niche and come up with a nice saying or design. That's the hard part for me. It's like picking the niche and picking the design and kind of getting it out there. So it's like, is this what they want?
I feel the same about this. Yeah.
Well, that's what, it's early days and you know what? You're not locked into anything.
No.
If you don't like it, tweak it, change it, adjust it. Like I'm looking at these white walls here. I'm thinking I'll put some artwork on them if I,
Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
For instance, I was watching like one of your episodes earlier and I was like watching where the camera's shooting you and where you're getting shot. You should take that whole little tapestry and like put that down there so that it fills your whole background.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So and just, visually speaking, I'm looking at it from a visual stance and just, trying to craft it that way so that, when you're cutting back and forth, it's like, there's like, this has got this background and it's, I don't know. Because right now I think when it cuts between, you've got that a part of the white wall there and then I got white on both sides of me. So it's like, it's kind of like white on white. And it's, I don't know. It threw me just a little bit.
Okay.
But, that's just one comment. But yeah, keep doing it, keep tweaking, keep adjusting, and keep growing. And don't stop. Don't ever stop.
Yeah, that's it. Consistency. I feel like with consistency, like one way or another, there'll be success.
Yeah.
It might take a really long time, but
well, do your research too. Look out at whatever the other people are doing out there. Take notes. Watch a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So like, okay, what do I like about this one? And be like, oh, the lighting on this is quite nice. Oh, they're using a darker environment. I see. Instead of like, being blasted with light.
Yeah.
You can, what if it's like, you're doing it by candlelight? I don't know. Think about things.
Yeah.
Just, but make it,
It's interesting too, like.
Do you?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out because, on the one hand, to your first comment, like I mostly listen to podcasts, so I actually don't take much notice of what they're doing.
Right.
But that is a good note because some people will be watching and want to, probably get bored of just looking at two people surrounded by a plain white background. Okay. But also, no, I forgot. What were you going to say?
I'll think about it too, like niches, like with my crap, right?
Yeah.
Niches. It's like there's the teacher niche, there's the mom dog niche, there's the the mom baseball niche. There's like all these different subcategories you can get into. Have you thought about maybe giving the podcast a niche in some regard?
I have, for sure,
Well,
and like a lot of podcasts I listen to, I guess, are with like comedians or stuff of the like. And the one way where this podcast is different than any of those is that I'm just a normal guy who's decided to do this. And
but see, I think those other people were normal people too.
Yeah.
And maybe watch some of maybe the lesser famous people, and kind of see what it is that they're doing. Like, take some serious notes. Like, what's the subject matter like? Who are the guests that they predominantly get? Is it from like one industry? Like, there might be a podcast out there that purely deals with people in the porno industry, for an example. It's just like, and that's all they do is they interview people in that one niche. It's like, do we have anything down here that's different, that is not accessible to maybe the rest of the world, you could like tap into? Think about that. I don't know. It's just ideas. But I'm happy to have a talk off of this with you about it, and just kind of go and just, spitball and throw ideas and see what sticks. Well, that's fun for me, throwing stuff around and getting creative, and just, I say something and then you say something and it sparks something else in my mind, and then ideas germinate and kind of grow, and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I'm into that too.
My lips are a little bit dry.
That's cool. Self-care is important.
It's like, when they're really bad, it's just like so annoying. It's like, how did this happen?
That's one thing Jordan was talking about last week. I mentioned some of my creative writing, and he said, you should try, like, I guess, formulate something on here where I'll sit down and have like story time, essentially, and
that's something else I've been watching on YouTube. People will dig up these interesting historical stories that are maybe edge on the creepy or fantastical, or like, you're not going to believe this. And they tell and recount these stories, and they do their research, whether it's, Manny, you're going to get in trouble. They do these stories where, they pull information from either it's books or like old interviews or this or that. And they kind of like, they weave it together, and they do like a visual narrative, popping up images and this, and like, this location. And they're fascinating, because you're like, some of them are really creepy and really bizarre. And you're like, you're not going to believe this, but that could be interesting. You know what? You gotta, think about it, make some notes, try it. Yeah. See how it goes, and then critique it, or send it to me. I'll critique it. Yeah. I mean,
I know I'll get an honest appraisal from you too.
Because, I know that it's important for the creator to have honest feedback, good, bad, or otherwise. It's like, and
no feedback is hard to work with.
Well, that's just it. And I realized that too, being a creative, right? Like, I got this when you take like a design that you did in school and you throw it up on the wall, and then the whole class sits back and goes, and then they all talk about it, and you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that. And, and that's how you grow. You learn from them, and you think like, okay, this could be stronger here. And if you did this, and this will make that better. Yeah. And you're like, oh, and I like what you did there. That's really kind of, interesting. And you're like, okay, cool. And you take that and you kind of like, adjust, and you take it to the next project and the next design, and you grow. Yeah. Same thing here. It's like, I know that it's important because you're just starting this whole thing out. So I'm all too happy to kind of like, I know, throw feedback in, because you're probably like hungry for it. Like,
big time.
What can we do?
I think this will be episode
what you
20.
Created since you told me about this is pretty sweet, man. It's like, you got you just went out and learned how to do it, because people are like, I'm going to ask you, like, when I brew beer, people are like, how did you learn how to brew beer? I'm like, I don't know, watch some YouTube videos, a little bit of breeding, and I just dove in head first and started doing it. Made some mistakes. And
we talked about that last week too, actually. Like, basically, I came to the realization that I could sit around and think about this.
You'd start doing it.
Or I could just start doing it. And a lot of people advised me to just keep thinking about it. But I know how I operate, and it wouldn't happen. No. I'd just be stuck thinking about it forever.
It's like you go out and you buy some microphones, and you're like, cool, I got some microphones. Hey, how do we make them work in the computer? I don't know. What kind of software do we need? I don't know. There's these options. Well, which one's free? That one. Let's try that.
Yeah. It really has been a case of using what I've got around me. And
It's cool.
Had a little bit of money to get some gear. I've got me a Bradley, and yeah.
You know what? And as this goes on and things start to happen, and this will get upgraded, that'll get upgraded.
Oh,
this
can't
will be
wait.
better. That'll be cool. And it's like you watch it grow. It'll happen. It's but the key thing is you start it, and that's always impressive because a lot of them just blow hot air and just talk and don't take action. And,
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy either. I like getting into projects and doing things, and I've got so many ideas and stuff I want to do. And it's
cool.
I'd love to build this if I could, I want to build a tall boy, but I'm like,
oh yeah,
when do I have time to build a tall boy? I mean, there's plans online. I can go get some materials. It's like dealing with some, other stuff first. It's like, but that'd be a fun project. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I need a tall boy. Other creative, like painterly things. There's like, you've seen the art that they do where, it's called pouring. It's acrylic pours. And you take like acrylic paint and you pour it and you pour it and you pour it. And then once it's all on the canvas, you can kind of like roll it around it. And then the paint's just kind of, I bought all the stuff I need to do these pours, this acrylic pouring. It's all in a box of storage. Everything I need. Never even opened it all up. Never even did one painting. It's all waiting for me to have a week off or,
Does it need to be a week though?
No, but see, I need a space. Now I don't have space, like a creative space. I mean, you got a great little space here.
Thank you.
But this is, good space. I mean, if it's just for this and for you,
it is
fantastic, man. To be able to come in. I missed having a garage, to be able to go into and like sling paint around and throw stuff and get dirty and make a mess and,
I've even had that thought of, a friend of mine was saying that to me. She was like, you're into your painting and drawing and stuff. If you don't have a guest one week, like maybe you should do that. Get a canvas, set it up here, and just do a painting and talk about the process as you're doing it. Something like that.
Can't hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
I'm not a great painter, but I also don't paint for anyone but myself.
You know who's good? There's an artist I like. His name is Crayola.
Okay.
Craola. He does videos on YouTube where he does time-lapse paintings, and he'll set the camera up and just do these massive paintings, and they're phenomenal. He's got his own style, which is I love, but he just doesn't. And it's like, I sat and watched one the other day. He just had a new show up in Los Angeles that opened yesterday or the day before, and he did a big time-lapse painting of like the big piece for this gallery show, and it's just amazing. And watching him work, it's educational and it's mesmerizing because you just like, you can't take your eyes off it. You're like watching the techniques that he's doing, working with acrylics. Like he lays stuff in, and then he like layers over it, and then he does this, and then he puts some white down and like dumbs it down, and it pushes it in the background, and then his big characters come on top of that, and it's this and it's birds, and it's this, and I'm like, it's really, really cool. But if you could kind of start and slow the process down, maybe like do some research and figure things out, and then again keep doing it, because it's like it's that regularity that if you do it and you do it a couple times a week, it's that muscle memory. You're gonna get better. You're gonna know techniques. You're gonna know tricks and tips and things and how to work the brush better and all this kind of stuff. It's like it all kind of fits into it. That's something else I'd love to do is get into painting, but again, time, space, studio. I'm like, it hurts, man. I'm like, then I'm not doing this, but I've got the side hustle, and that seems to be enough right now. That and the beer's fun, in a masochistic kind of way. It's all about cleaning. They tell you, oh, you want to brew beer? You got to like cleaning, because you got to clean everything, sterilize. You got to keep it clean. Otherwise, beer's going to be garbage. So that's the thing. It's like 80% cleaning and 20%.
Oh, really?
All the gear, when you're done with it, it's got freaking grain and beer or garbage all over. You're like, brew day is about 8 hours long.
Yeah.
You start in the morning and you finish at like 5 p.m. and you're cleaning everything.
It's one day to brew beer.
Do a batch. Yeah, one day.
Really?
Yeah. You just, because you start with your mash tun, right? Your big bin that has all the grains in it and your water. You get it up to temperature. You throw your grains in. It boils for like an hour. After that, you lift the grains out. And you sparge it, you pour water over the top and get all the sugars out of the grains. And when the grains are done, you pull the grains off to the side, throw them away, or make dog biscuits out of them. Haven't done that yet. Dogs love that crap.
Okay.
Don't use hops. So if you're making spent grain biscuits, don't put hops. Hops and dogs don't go together. But one day I'm going to do spent grain biscuits. And it's going to be amazing because Manny's already had some from the pub and they're like doggy crack. But yeah, so the grains go away. Then you take your wort and your liquid and then you get that in the fermenter and then you pitch your yeast and then you throw in some hops and you wait a week or two or throw in some more hops depending on what kind of beer you're making. And then you let it go and you plug it in, you keep it at the right temperature for 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks. And when that's done and it's done its thing and all the sugars are all eaten up and all the hops and the yeast everything's done, then you just kind of got to get it in a keg. And that's different depending on the type of beer as well. So I just learned how to do a closed transfer, which means you have your fermenter, which is closed at the top. It's got like a stopper on the top with like an air valve. So that's kind of keeping the air out because you don't want the air to get to your beer. It'll oxidize,
right.
So they tell me, and it'll spoil the.
So you don't want that.
No.
Okay.
So you got to keep it closed. So I put the fermenter up on the table, and I put my gas, my CO2 up next to that because I'm gonna on the top of the gas. I've got like my connection that it plugs into the top of the fermenter. It has like a little connection, so it's like that's on there. So now I can push pressure into the fermenter, like just 1 psi, like just a little bit. And that pushes enough pressure in there. And then you put like another hose on the bottom that connects to the input of your keg.
Creates a vacuum.
Not a vacuum. Well, yeah, a tight controlled space where no oxygen is going to get through. You push the CO2 in, pushes the beer out. Beer comes out, goes into the keg, no exposure to air. And success, my hazy's in the keg. It's not too bad, for a first hazy. I'm drinking it. Had one earlier. But yeah, it's like that was an interesting process because I was all terrified. I'm like, how am I going to do a closed transfer? It sounds so scary. I'm like, talk to my beer guy. He's like, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. I walked away with like $75 worth of bits, took them all home, screwed everything together, made it all look right. I'm like, okay, this looks okay. And plugged it all in. I'm like, okay, that goes there, that goes there, this goes there. Looks like it went work. And, it did. So
perfect.
Didn't know how to do it like an hour ago, but I got through the process. And it's like anything, baby steps. And now I just need to do it again so it, gets more ingrained in the brain and, kind of keep exploring. But yeah, man.
It's really cool.
Yeah, you should come have a beer sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, come check it out, see what you think.
Cool.
So, yeah, another brew day coming up in about a week or so. And then, I'm looking forward to getting all 4 kegs full so I can come home and have a choice of like, I think I'll have a lager today.
You'll never need to go to a pub again.
Yeah. Baylands is already feeling the pain because, it's got my own pub happening.
Yeah.
Pub Jorge.
Oh, good. I feel like this is as good a place as any to call it. But thanks heaps for coming here.
No worries.
And I did ask you before if you wanted to plug anything, but you didn't want to. But do you want to plug maybe Manny's Instagram? Oh,
if you want to check out Manny's Instagram, it's Manny_about_town. Manny About Town.
How good.
And go check it out. I don't really update it. I don't at all, but there's a plethora of really cool, fun images from our travels around, like both Wellington and London.
That's cool.
And we had some fun with it. We just met some cool little people and creatures along the way, and I gave him his own little voice, so he's the one who comments. Yeah, and it's it's all good fun. There's a lot to explore and a lot to see over there in London, so we had a good time with that. That's cool. Yeah, you're famous. People love you. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Cool. Well, thanks, and catch you next week. Cool, man. Cheers, guys. Thank you much.